you done for me?
I really like Terence Crawford, right, because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive, he's due a massive performance, and I think Canelo's made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore.
I know his spirit.
Yeah?
He got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out, and then they just...
Terence Crawford wrapped up his final day of training camp ahead of the mega fight with Canelo Alvarez. Turki Alalshik was also present in camp, standing firmly in Crawford's corner. Terence expressed gratitude for Turki's support throughout this journey. While acknowledging the tough grind of camp, Crawford reminded everyone that the mission isn't complete yet. He carried himself with quiet confidence, insisting he'll emerge victorious once he steps into the ring.
Hey, appreciate you. Everything that you done for me. You and Riyadh said you must the job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
The job ain't done yet.
Yeah. It's Saturday, deliver the job.
But listen, I appreciate the opportunity.
No retirement.
Let's get it. Yeah.
Crawford's final preparations have been defined by discipline, grit, and an unrelenting drive. With the biggest fight of his career ahead, he has been sparring intensely, fine-tuning his reflexes, and perfecting his defensive craft while keeping his offense sharp and explosive. His coaches highlight the focus he's shown throughout camp, insisting that no detail has been overlooked. Footage of training paints a picture of a fighter who is lean, conditioned, and fully locked in for battle. In his own words, Crawford makes it clear that victory is within reach, though he knows the challenge won't be easy. His training and interviews reveal a man who thrives under pressure, who respects the magnitude of fighting a champion like Canelo but never doubts his own skill. Crawford stresses that this fight isn't just about physical preparation but also mental resilience. No matter how tough it gets, he insists that his discipline, strategy, and unwavering belief will carry him to success.
With Canelo going?
I'm definitely going to win the fight, for sure. But, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think he's going to bring the best out of me. I'm going to bring the best out of him, and it's going to be an exciting fight.
Unlike many fighters who push themselves to the point of exhaustion, Crawford has approached training with maturity. He openly admits he avoids overtraining, preferring quality sessions over unnecessary strain. His philosophy is clear: pushing too far risks injury or fatigue before fight night. Instead, he trusts the hard work already put in is enough to peak at the right time.
Right now, I'm not training hard. I'm not even training, really. I don't want to overtrain because me personally, when I go in the gym, I give my all, and I don't want to burn myself out.
Crawford's main sparring partner, Lester Martinez, has sounded an ominous warning for Canelo. Having shared countless rounds with Crawford in camp, Martinez says Terence's power is something Alvarez has never felt before. Despite Canelo's reputation as the naturally bigger fighter, Martinez insists Crawford feels just as strong inside the ropes. He describes Terence's punches as beastly and believes Canelo will be in for a shock on fight night. As sparring partners often give the most honest insight, Martinez's testimony adds weight to Crawford's preparation.
No, está como dicen muchos, está cabrón. Está preparado, está listo, a pesar de venir de una categoría muy abajo, subir a la 168, pues yo te digo, los sparring con él, tanto lo he ayudado como he sentido que él me ha ayudado también a mí. Entonces, anteriormente estaba enfocado en ayudarlo, pero luego que me dijeron que yo iba a pelear, ¿sabes qué? Necesito ayudarte, pero que me ayudes. Y ya en el ring nos entendemos, yo casi no hablo inglés. Todavía voy practicándolo, pero en el ring nos entendemos muy bien. Y hay una buena vibra, pero él está listo. Y yo también estoy listo.
El tema del peso, ¿cómo crees lo afectará en la noche de la pelea haciendo sparring con él?
¿Cómo?
Haciendo sparring con Terence, la gente habla, pues el Canelo es muy grande, sí. 2 categorías.
Bueno, en realidad en tamaño creo que están iguales. Pero en diferencia de peso, sí, a lo mejor Canelo está más acostumbrado a esa categoría que Terence. Pero te digo, vengo haciendo sparring con él desde que estaba en las 147 libras. Mi primer sparring con él en las 147. Yo era ya 168, sigo siendo 168. Y lo único que hizo ahora pues es subir de peso, aumentar de peso. Y sí, se siente muy diferente haber hecho sparring con él en 147 y ahora hacer sparring con él en 168. Pero yo creo que...
¿Cómo se siente diferente?
En el sentido que le he sentido más pegada, más explosivo. La rapidez, el snap lo tiene todavía el cabrón, no lo ha perdido, lo he sentido. Pero creo que la nutrición que lleva, el equipo de trabajo con el que tiene.
Former champion Duke McKenzie has boldly declared that Crawford is tailor-made to dismantle Canelo Alvarez. In his view, many of Canelo's recent opponents weren't truly elite, whereas Crawford presents an entirely new level of challenge. McKenzie points to Crawford's adaptability, fight IQ, and precision as the perfect formula to expose Canelo's flaws. While Alvarez has beaten a wide range of styles, McKenzie argues he's never faced anyone with Crawford's unique skill set.
Over the years, when you look, since he's been off the mad cow meat, right? You look at his last 5 fights, he's boxed ordinary fighters, you know, and they're not in the same league. They're really not in the same league. And I think to myself, his last 5 fights, even what's that kid's name? Hamza Shiraz, right? Mm-hmm. So he boxed in his last fight. He knocked out, what's the kid's name?
Belanga.
Right, he knocked out Belanga. Belanga took your man there. He took him the distance. Mm-hmm. Now you only got to balance it up. If Belanga can take him the distance, you got to say to yourself, what is Terence Crawford going to do to
Canelo, yeah.
Canelo, sorry, to Canelo. I've got the names mixed up. Yeah, right. So what's he going to do to you know what? I look at the fight and I think to myself, I really like Terence Crawford, right? Because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive performance. And I think Canelo's made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore. You don't get any head movement from him anymore. He doesn't show you a punch and hit you with another one anymore. There's no variety in his whole sort of makeup. And I look at him and I think to myself, Canelo's become, just in my opinion, I think he's become a little bit pedestrian in as much as goes in straight lines, comes out in straight lines. There's no urgency to his work.
One of the biggest concerns heading into this fight has been the weight gap. Critics argued that Crawford moving up would leave him undersized. But recent training footage has silenced much of that doubt. Crawford looks stronger, bigger, and sharper than ever, convincing many analysts that the weight difference won't matter. In fact, some now predict Crawford could win by knockout. His ability to bulk up without sacrificing speed or precision has stunned those who once doubted him.
Don't win fights, and everybody, it seems like, that says muscles don't win fights usually have ridiculous muscle mass. Like Devin Haney was like, muscles don't win, and Devin's like way bigger than everybody else at 135 pounds and jacked to the gills. That's that snack shit. Okay, we're not doing that. But Terence Crawford also on that snack shit. Anyway, Bud Crawford did just drop a body transformation pic. Let's take a look at it. Boom! Son, I'm sorry, I have a flat tire. Does anyone have a jack to help me out? Oh, thank you, Bud Crawford. You're actually huge. The man has abs on his abs on his abs. I'm not trying to glaze, but that doesn't look like a 147 pounder. It doesn't look like a 154 pounder. That looks like a grown man. He's definitely put some weight on, coming to 168 pounds. And I can tell you that now. Take what I'm about to show you with a grain of salt because it is on weigh-in day, but look at what he was at 140 pounds. Now again, he's out of camp, hasn't made the weight cut yet, but that's him right now. But I mean, that is crazy. Couple of things. Yes, muscles don't win you fights, and the biggest question we have to ask now is, how will this newfound muscle mass affect Bud Crawford in the fight? Because one of the things I have said continuously about this fight is that the weight issue has been completely overblown by people. And what I mean is, there is not a massive weight disparity between these two fighters. What Canelo walks around at and what Terence Crawford walks around at is probably similar, and maybe Terence Crawford even weighs a little more. I don't know. I saw the picture of the scale of him at 186. It may be a little less when he's normally not trying to gain weight, but that's not the point of the weight difference. The point of saying there is a weight difference is that Canelo Alvarez has consistently fought and been successful at 160 to 168.
A bit of controversy has surfaced after analyst Showbiz the Adult suggested the fight might be compromised. He pointed to Turki Alalshik's involvement in Crawford's camp, highlighting footage where Turki tells Terence not to retire after the Canelo bout. Showbiz speculated this could be code for a favor owed, since Turki played a role in arranging the fight. While the theory is largely speculative, it has sparked heated debate among fans about whether outside influences could affect such a high-profile showdown.
On the first part, return the favor. But Turki, in a second thought, said, no, I'm going to deliver this message. He goes back to Bud, and he says, and don't retire after this. Don't retire.
No retirement. Let's get it. Yeah.
That's what Turki meant when he was trying to say, return the favor.
I said, you must return. Yeah.
I did this for you. You got this big fight. Yeah, the job ain't done. Deliver the job. But don't retire. Return the favor. That is the most important part, and we're going to break that down. The deliver the job thing, that is more of a language difference, okay? Because Bud is saying, listen, the job ain't done. He said, oh yeah, deliver the job Saturday. Mostly meaning put on a good fight. Fight your heart out. If you win, cool. That'll be best if you win. But I'm just saying it's not about winning. Winning is about trying. Winning is about going for greatness. Marvelous Marvin Hagler wasn't undefeated. Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Muhammad Ali, Sam Langford, Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, some of these Gene Tunney, some of the greatest fighters of all time, Willie Pep, Sammy Sadler. These guys weren't undefeated, right? But that's what made them great, is that they were taking on all challenges. His Excellency Turki Alalshik knows that the product isn't the fighter. The product is the sport. So he's trying to put on the best matches, which is why he's saying, don't retire, return the favor, because I got more ideas for you.
Rapper Boozy also weighed in, describing Crawford as a silent killer. He explained that Terence's calm demeanor and lack of trash talk make him even more dangerous. Instead of relying on bravado, Crawford lets his fists do the talking. Boozy emphasized that Canelo should be cautious, because behind Crawford's quiet composure lies devastating power and pinpoint accuracy.
Yes. I know his spirit.
Yeah?
Yeah, he got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out of them, then they just, you know, I've been like that with them niggas. Like, I didn't watch Crawford. I didn't hung out with this nigga. This is my boy. Like, this nigga got a killer in him. You know, Canelo better be fucking ready. Like, this nigga got a killer in him, bro.
Boxing expert Russ Anber underlined just how unprecedented Crawford's move truly is. Jumping multiple divisions to fight one of the sport's most dominant champions is rare, and success in such attempts is even rarer. Anber praised Crawford's fearlessness and ambition, noting that win or lose, this fight elevates his legacy. Few fighters would risk so much at this stage of their career.
I can't think of anybody, especially someone who hasn't even competed in that division. So, yeah, I can't think of anybody. And to think that Crawford, started out at 135. I mean, the last guy I can think of doing that would have been Duran. But I think Duran went up and won the title at middleweight, and he didn't do it all in one fell swoop. It was one weight category after another. Leonard at 35, Davey Moore at 54, then Iran Barkley at 60. I mean, it just kept moving up. But I don't know of anybody that's gone from 35 up to 168 and basically leapfrog the division. So from champion at 147, one fight at 154, and then leapfrogs over an entire section of top 10 contenders at 168 pounds, never having fought at 168. Oh, leapfrogs 160, over into the contenders at 168, right into a title shot. I can't think of anybody that's done that. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. Tommy, over the last couple of years, I think Canelo's come to rely on his power. Do you think that'll be enough against Crawford's ring IQ and his combinations and footwork?
I can't think of any fighter where punching power alone is enough. So, you know, Canelo has come around with two things, punching power and defense. He's still very, very difficult to hit, which allows him to load up on shots and get into the range that he wants to get into, where he can fire away with hard punching power, not setting them up as much as he used to in the past, not having that, you know, that same work rate that he used to have. But if he's just thinking of going out there looking for that one shot.
Another narrative has centered on the size comparison between the two. While Canelo has long been considered the bigger man, new footage suggests Crawford may now be his equal or even slightly larger. Observers recall how strong Crawford looked when moving up against Madrimov, and at 168 pounds, he appears even more imposing. His combination of bulk and sharpness has surprised analysts, many of whom no longer see Canelo's size as an advantage.
Now, when he fought Israel Madrimov, that was at the 154-pound weight limit, but when Crawford actually got into the ring on fight night, he was actually the heavier of the two men, clocking in at 169.8 pounds, we'll call it 170 just for the ease of the video, but 170 pounds at 154, that's a very, very solid rehydration. That is a very good weight for a 154-pound fighter. And our man Canelo Alvarez gives us evidence and testament to this. I've gone back through the years to have a look at what Canelo weighed in the ring when he fought 154 pounds to give us context as to the size difference. And don't get me wrong, Canelo will be bigger now than he was back then, but Crawford will be too. Crawford will also put that extra size on. And whilst he's not experienced fighting with the extra weight, it will give us some kind of understanding of how much of an issue it might be. We'll take everything into account, but just to begin with, you know, how big is the size difference? Well, going back and looking at some of these fights, we'll start with the Floyd Mayweather fight. So that was at 152-pound catch weight. And I said in my tactical video that Canelo was dehydrated for that one, that he wasn't at his maximum capability. Now, I still stand by that assessment because he was so green in his career and because I feel his best performances have come at higher weight classes, and especially where he's not been having to cut lots of weight. But just for context in that one, he was 165 pounds in the ring versus Floyd that night. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather weighed 150.5 pounds, so there was actually a 14.5-pound weight difference that night. So you start to understand where I'm going with this in this video. I want to look at the context of where there's been weight gaps before. So someone who was 14.5 pounds lighter than Canelo was able to beat him on that night. Now look, Mayweather is an all-time great. Mayweather was unbelievably skilled and had soldiers tied up in knots. He couldn't do anything with him. But let's look at some other fights for some more context. When he fought Austin Trout, they were around about the same when they got in the ring. When they fought at 154 pounds, Canelo was 172 and Trout was 171. And that's really interesting to look at because that tells us that Canelo was only a couple of pounds heavier than Crawford when rehydrated when he fought at 154 pounds.
Crawford's trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, insists that critics are exaggerating the size difference. In his words, the jump to 168 isn't as drastic as people make it out to be. He argues that Crawford has the natural build and power to compete at super middleweight without disadvantage. McIntyre believes Terence isn't just moving up in weight, he's stepping into a division where he can dominate.
Bomac also added that when Crawford said that he's gonna fight Canelo at 168, that he was completely fine with it because Crawford is already a natural big guy to begin with, and that once again, contrary to popular belief, Canelo is not the bigger guy. Basically, if anything, it's easier for Crawford because he's no longer gonna have to drain himself.
That wraps up today's video.